Did you know there used to be a goth social media? In today's video, I'm talking about Vampirefreaks. Hello spooky bats and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Orphea and I'm a goth YouTuber from Belgium. Recently I posted on my community tab asking what videos you wanted to see, and one of you commented on a video on Vampirefreaks. Now, I actually got a few messages as well on my Instagram about Vampirefreaks a few months ago of someone asking me what it used to be, because I had referred to it in a previous video as well. So in today's video, I want to talk about what Vampirefreaks was, how I used it, how I got into the website, and then also what happened with it. And I of course also want to talk about the good aspects and the bad ones. First things first, what was Vampirefreaks? Vampirefreaks used to be a social network site. They started in 1999. The website was similar to MySpace in the aspect that you could customize your own page, make a mini website out of it, and it was also customizable with HTML. If you know how to code, if you knew how to code, you could incorporate all sorts of fun things into your profile. The main focus of the website was connecting alternative people, and there were a lot of bands on it as well, so you could put music on your profile. And honestly, to me, Vampirefreaks is one of the websites that allowed me to get to know so much music, and that was one of the main aspects that drew me into it. Vampirefreaks didn't only have profiles of people, they also had bands on there, and the bands were regularly promoted on the homepage. I'm trying to find some screenshots on the internet of how Vampirefreaks actually looked like, but when you came onto the website, you were able to browse to categories. You could go to cults, and cults were basically like Facebook groups. You had cults about anything and everything. You could ask to join them. They had specific rules, and then you had topics in the cults on which you could talk. I personally was part of one that was about industrial music that I remember. I also was part of the Vlaanderen one, which is the region where I live, so it's Flanders basically. I was also in a Belgian and Dutch buy and sell group that I can remember, because I used to buy and sell a lot of goth clothing on there, and then of course I followed a lot of bands. Now, the thing with Vampirefreaks is that it was also kind of marketed as a dating website. When you were on the site, you could actually search for people that were online, that were local to you, male, female. There were tons of filters that you could apply, and you could actually start talking to people that way. There was also a rating system where you could get a score from 0 to 10 on your profile from anyone who came onto your profile, basically. So people would try and have high scores. One moment, I'm not sure exactly when, they also launched the Vampirefreaks models. So the people who were on the website, who were used in the promotional campaigns, etc., were people who were on the website, and then they were booked as models. I'm not sure how everything worked. I do know a few people who were in the models back then, and after the site was shut down, they actually tried to continue the Vampirefreaks models, but it all just fell apart. If you nowadays look up Vampirefreaks, you will see that you can still find an online store called Vampirefreaks, which was actually added to the social network in 2001. Everything is done, in my beliefs, by the same person who originally founded it, who is called Jet. You can even find some YouTube videos by him. I think that Jet did a really good thing with Vampirefreaks, and it's a real shame that they shut it down. Although from a certain aspect I can understand it, because I think the peak of this website was the early 2000s. 2000 to 2010 was more or less when I was most active on the website, and I think most other people as well. And I think the highlight of this platform was when there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, because Vampirefreaks would be one of the only ways that you could find other alternative people around you. So now let's talk about how I got into Vampirefreaks. When I went to my first festival, which was Graspop, I actually met a bunch of alternative people there. One of them talked to me asking me, hey, can I add you on Vampirefreaks? Because it was more or less the same as adding someone on Facebook nowadays. But I didn't have a Vampirefreaks. So once I got home, I actually made an account and started connecting with more and more alternative people around me. Now, on Vampirefreaks, what I personally did was making a lot of pictures that were very edgy, in my opinion at least, and posting them to the profile. Because on the platform you could see new pictures uploaded, you would get likes on them, comments on them, and that was basically what we were on there for. It's a little bit, I'm not sure if people watching this actually know Netlog, it was quite similar to that. but then for alternative people. Now, for me personally, I use Vampirefreaks more to connect with people, to actually meet new people, to find events, because where I lived there was nothing. There was an alternative night every now and then, but it was mostly punk and metal or rock music, and not really into the niche that I personally preferred. So I found events, I found parties on Vampirefreaks. However, I wasn't able to attend most of the events that I found because I wasn't 18 yet and I lived quite far away. However, being on the website, being able to talk to people who have similar interests really helped me grow as a person and grow into the goth scene. So when did I stop using Vampirefreaks? Because I have been on it for quite a long time and I still had my account when they deactivated the website in 2020. Now, I wasn't active the last few years, but I think I was most active ever since I started using it, which was around 2007 up to 2012, 2015, more or less. Because that was the time that I was really discovering goth, discovering the music, getting to know more people. But once I moved and I actually got to know people in real life, I stopped using the platform as much. Also because Facebook came around, Instagram came around, I started using YouTube more and more. So for me there was a shift from Vampirefreaks to other social media. Now the good things about Vampirefreaks, and I think I've told you this plenty of times already in this video, is that you could connect with other alternative people all around the world. I also found it super interesting that they constantly had dance competitions going on or other creative things where you could be featured on the homepage, which was something that people really wanted. And that also there were music competitions, so they actually tried to get smaller bands out there. They also had an event at some point, if I'm not mistaken. They actually had a physical convention that was hosted by them. So they did a lot of things for the community, which is amazing. They actually connected the community when there was no way to connect it. However, there's also some bad things. There was no verification, as in anyone could have an account on the platform. You could message anyone, and unless you blocked someone, you could still keep messaging them. So there were a lot of predators on the website as well. There are also a few cases, and if you Google it, you will quickly find it, of people actually committing crimes through the website or connecting to people who commit crimes through the website, which of course wasn't good. And it didn't stop the creator of the website of keeping it online, and I don't think he ever was charged with anything personally against him. But do know that anyone could message you and that they could also send pictures to you. So imagine being a young girl of age 16, 17 and getting dick pics, because that's basically what happened on the website as well. Now you could of course report profiles, block them, but it didn't stop because there's a lot of people on this platform. And since there's no way of verification, well, people could do whatever they want. There was also a lot of lying on the website in terms of what you looked like. There was a lot of catfishing going on. Also ages that were set to 100 years old or plus 99, I think it was, on the website. So people would have a lot of false information on their profiles. And in the early stages that I was on the website, I only connected with people I actually knew and didn't connect with people I hadn't met yet. That changed over time, and I do have some good memories about it, but I also have some not so good ones. So it was really a social network on which you had to be very careful. So to conclude this video, do I miss Vampirefreaks? Actually, yes. Now that I think about it, I do miss it, because it was both a kind of dating website and a social network to connect with other alternative people. Nowadays, there is nothing similar to it. I know you can find people on Facebook, but you have to know their name. You can find people on Instagram, but if it's a bigger account, they just get buried in messages, so it's not easy to connect with them. And also, I really liked the kind of forum type threads that you had here on which you could interact on specific topics. I know Reddit exists, but I don't use Reddit because it's just an overload of information and trolls. So I personally do think it's a pity that Vampirefreaks shut down and that there is no alternative to it. But that's life, I guess. If you were on Vampirefreaks, feel free to let me know in a comment what you think about the website or how it was for you when you use it. Did it actually spark good memories or bad ones? Because I know for some people it was amazing and some people really disliked it. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, and of course, if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make weekly videos every Friday and I would love to have you here for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next week with a new video. Bye!